Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this session today. This is the 10 to 12 session with Conquering DAX 2019 webinars. My name is Patrick. I'm from Trainocate Malaysia. Right. This event is co-organized with Genring Consulting. Right. We have our speaker Jared Hong for Genring Consulting as well. He's the CEO and the master trainer from Genring Consulting. Right. I hope everyone has a lovely kickstart of the week. Right. So we're gonna have this series of session. Also, there's some customized training around the Power BI. We work very closely with the German Consulting moving forward, right? So these are some of the courses that will address your specific need around Power BI, which is not covered in our standard Microsoft training. So I hope this session will benefit you all and you think it's useful, right, for you when you're dealing with your Power BI usage or day-to-day routine, right? Now, 10, 12 already. I'll pass the floor to Jared and to kickstart the session, right? Hope everyone have a nice session. Thanks.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay, guys, a warm welcome. All right, good morning. My name is Gerald. All right, I'm not so sure how many of you guys have been to my training before. Maybe some of you guys know me, some of you guys don't know me. Well, I'm the trainer, okay, for Conquering DAX 2019. Some of you guys might be thinking, is that a typo mistake? Isn't it year 2021 already? How come it is 2019? Well, actually, this year number refers to the DAX version. Okay, now those of you who have been into DAX before, you have actually known DAX. The very first version of DAX was in 2010. Right, DAX came out very early in Excel 2010. When the first version of Power Pivot came out, that was DAX. It was version 2010. Okay, and then when Microsoft Office and Excel, well, Excel is part of Office lah. So when they moved on to version 2013, all right, so they just carry forward and they introduce Power Query. They've got Power View, all this kind of stuff inside the Excel. And Microsoft named this as the Power Tools for Excel. All right, so DAX was still version 2010. So Microsoft is still in the midst of, enhancing the language and updating the engine. The engine in the background was called VertiPack. Microsoft bought over a company, right, called VertiPack, and it's called a VertiPack engine. Right, so this is a very good engine. And of course, there is no version 2015 for Office. So, but DAX was updated to version 2015. And they introduced that, okay, in Office 2016. DAX language 2015. So later on, until today, just 2 years ago, DAX had the third updated version, which is 2019. So that's the reason why this training, all right, this webinar I'm going to do here is called Conquering DAX 2019. Now, of course, all of us are trying to conquer the COVID-19 pandemic as well, okay, not just conquering DAX. But ultimately, this session, I only talk for 2 hours. In fact, you guys know it is unthinkable, it is impossible to conquer DAX in 2 hours, all right? What I'm about to do is to give you guys a sneak peek, okay, on what's in store for you guys. Now, especially this is tailor-made for people who wish to know DAX, who are afraid to touch DAX, and who don't know, how to start or where to start. Now, those of you who already have stepped into DAX and you find that, oh my God, I keep on shaking my head. I don't know how to do this. I kept on doing trial and error. I kept on researching from Google, find here, find there. But there's no structural learning for you. Because you see, DAX is about learning how to write formulas. Just pretty much like in your Excel, you strive a long way to master your formula writing skills and all that. So DAX is no exception. It is the same because you need to know and learn through tough way. You have to go through boundaries and crash through walls and whatever, just to pick up and understand DAX. Now, those of you who already have DAX knowledge, stay tuned. Maybe these 2 hours is nothing much for you. Maybe it's just to at least get you guys to be interested to at least maybe consider to go for the official training. Now, the official training, obviously, now we are doing a very close collaboration. We are in a very exclusive partnership with Trainocate Malaysia. All right, they are our so-called very close partner. We are all doing the same thing. Okay, the training is supposed to be 5 days. It's a full 5 days, 9 to 5. I torture my attendees, right? Okay, all writing DAX, DAX, DAX. All right, so what is DAX actually? Right, so what I'm about to show you, right, okay, will be just bits and pieces of the intro. Those of you who feel that I have heard of DAX, but I do not know what is it, am I qualified to take the DAX training if I only know Excel formulas? So how about that? Now the answer is a definite yes. As long as you know how to write formulas in Excel, what you're about to see in DAX, right, okay, it's almost the same. It's just that conceptually, there are certain things that is not equivalent to Excel, right? So let me show you what is actually the DAX language. So it's a language of Power BI. It's a language not just for Power BI, but it started from Power Pivot. You can see point number 3 there, right? It's from Power Pivot. That's the great-grandfather. Before Power BI, before there was Power BI, it is actually Power Pivot. All right, and Microsoft took Power Pivot's success story from Excel and they make it mainstream. Ultimately, when they make it mainstream, they took also Power Query, the Power View, and that was what you guys know of here. Now, one thing good about this Conquering DAX training, right, it's not just only satisfying attendees who are from Power BI environment. If you are not in Power BI, you are still doing your Power Pivot, Power View, Power Query, everything within Excel. Can you learn this as well? The answer is a resounding yes. No problem. Whether you write the DAX in Excel Power Pivot, or whether you write it in Power BI, or again, another one called Analysis Services Tabular Model, that one is related to Microsoft SQL Server. It's the same thing. DAX is simple, but it's not easy. Look at the thing I put there, okay? It sounded very, very crazy. Simple is equivalent to easy. Easy is also equal to simple. I put it in such a way, okay, to let you guys think. DAX is simple, but it is not easy to master. I never put it there. I just want to crack a joke here, okay? It's encompassing new programming concepts and also some form of patterns. Now, not that you guys know of in Excel when you learn formula. What is this, man? I write formula, where got pattern one? Formula is formula, where got pattern one? But how come DAX, I talk about pattern? Well, actually, you don't realize, even in Excel, when you write formulas, right? Let me ask you guys a simple question. You guys can do a deep thinking here. I know you guys can't talk in this live event, right? You can share if you write out, okay, into the Q&A box there. You see, is there any way that you can write one single formula just to produce one result? What I'm trying to mean here, right, is that in order for you to get one result, right, is it only one formula? The answer can be no, right? Because there can be many different styles of writing. Sometimes, right, you write a long formula, it produces the result A. If someone, okay, who are a bit more experienced say, oh no, I don't agree with that, I write something shorter, right, still I can produce the same result. Result is A, right? So that is actually what we call as pattern. I'm not saying the pattern that you put on, no, but the pattern of writing, the conceptual understanding of how this is done. Okay, so in terms of DAX, so what is DAX? D-A-X, you have been hearing this. It stands for data, analysis, expression, right? The X is expression, they don't use E, right? They use the X. X always means expression, right? So data, analysis, expression. So from this acronym, you understand now that the formulas that you're about to piece together is nothing like Excel. It looks and it smells like Excel's formula, but it is not entirely the same objective like Excel. You see, one major distinguishable traits of the formula that we write as DAX compared to Excel is Excel's formula affected on only one cell, but DAX is not. DAX, you see, when you deal with Power Pivot or Power BI, right, the data model, you're dealing with the whole table. There is no cell thing, right? There is no cells. So Excel, you write a formula, you press enter to confirm the formula, right? The result only one cell. And then you have to drag down, and in this case, right, that's how you copy the formula and it stretches across. But in DAX, inside your Excel Power Pivot or Power BI, you write one formula. If you create a column, right, you press enter key, the result stretches across the board. If your table has got 1 million rows, you add a new column, right, and you enter the formula. When you press enter key at the end of the formula, you got 1 million rows, right? They will produce 1 million results, the entire column. All right. If you only got 10 rows, well, 10 times calculation. 1 million rows, 1 million times calculation. That's how powerful it can be. All right. Now, I attended, instead of being a speaker, okay, besides being a speaker of a conference, I had many stints last time, okay, both international and local scene as well. But I've attended some conferences like the main data summit from Microsoft. And I have seen how these people, they demonstrated a data model, one single table, they contain not just millions, yeah, millions is nothing. They demonstrated a stress test on a table with billions of rows. It's billion, right? And they write one single formula, right? Create a column, and within a couple of seconds, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was like between 4 to 6 seconds. I've forgotten already, but somewhere there is less than 10 seconds. 1 billion over rows, the 1 billion over values were populated across the billions of rows, just like that at a snap of finger. 4 plus to 6 seconds, somewhere there. So that's actually the power of the calculation engine behind. If this is were to be done in Excel, obviously no, because Excel, the maximum number of rows per sheet is only 1048576. It's a little bit over 1 million rows. That's the reason why they got Power Pivot. Power Pivot is unlimited, is endless. There is no limitation like a sheet with 1048576. That's the maximum, right? So that's why the DAX language was created especially for data analysis. There are many functions in DAX that you don't find in Excel. You won't find it in Excel, normal Excel. Some, of course, is there, right? But there is a new one called SumX. You don't find it in Excel. Okay, but of course, there are functions that they exist in Excel, but DAX don't have it. For example, sum in Excel got sum if. You do a conditional sum. In DAX, we don't have sum if. Even though I wish there is there, because sum if is like you try to sum something provided the condition is true. But in DAX, if you want to do the equivalent, you've got to embed. You got to use two functions together. You got to use a sum function. Inside the function, you got to put a filter function. You got to filter it. Okay. So understandably, right, the DAX can be very complex because you need to assemble a few functions and embed it together, sometimes just to achieve the same effect like Excel. So next one, what is DAX? So it's a programming language, blah, blah, blah. You sort of know that already. So you can see it resembles Excel because it was born with Power Pivot. It was crafted from Power Pivot. The important differences, you see, no concept of row and column, right? And it's a different type system. You got to know that. Because in Excel, all right, every time you do a formula, when you press enter key, right, the value will be just output. If it's a number calculation, they will show a value, a number. Okay, but if it's text concatenation, the output will be a text. If you realize carefully, any output or result from an Excel calculation on the spreadsheet, they don't care about the type. But when you learn DAX, right, you got to be really careful because the type system conforms to a major hierarchy. They do have a type, but the type system is very simple. It's not like those IT programmers. They go through a very complicated type system. Okay, even numbers also got so many types. Okay, but here it's very simple. It's either whole number or decimal, date or time. All right, text. Just only a few. It's very simple. It determines the output of your data because when you do data modeling in Power BI, what is most important, right? Especially when you add a column into your table of your data model, you need to verify and you need to specify Every column, what is the data type? You must fix it there. There is no such thing, okay, as that you need to actually go and keep on, adding, and then you don't actually set, okay, the column types and all that, right? Okay. The question is there going to be actual DAX or just theory? Of course, there'll be actual DAX. I will do a lot of demonstration here, all right, because this is just intro, right? This is a proper intro. I don't do directly dive into and then make everything, stir up the water, make waves. No, this is a proper way of doing things. That's how to prove that we have introduction, then we dive into the demo, all right? So hang on to your seats, right? Hold on to your joysticks. I'm about to go into that soon, all right? Next one, if I were to go into, let's give you a taste of what or how DAX will look like. So DAX is a functional language, you see. The execution flow will follow the function call. So you can embed a function. Now, you see what I've told you about. This is equivalent to something like a SUMIF, but we use something called SUMX, which is not available in Excel. So SUMX, right, okay, the X stands for an extension to sum. Little don't you know that the sum function is actually a shorthand for the actual SUMX. SUMX is the actual summation function. Sum is just a shorthand, a shortcut typing only, right? In the background, they really do a SUMX. So in this case, right, usually if I do a SUMX, okay, when I do a SUMX, I want to sum up a particular column. But if I pass it a filter function, I specify the condition of the filtering in here, because the main objective of the filter function, the main job of it is to filter. And you pass in the year column from the date table, values, you see. I want to filter the values from the year column. This is how the notation looks like. This is actually the table name, date table, the year column. And from this year column, right, I want to filter whereby only retrieve and show me the years not over 2005. That means only until year 2004, right? And this is actually what I want to sum, right? And this is actually the filtration. And the filtering, right, okay, will go into if, you can see. So only provided that whatever written by the filter, right, which is only up to the year 2004, and in the if here, right, you can see, I'm going to put it there. If the year is greater than equals to 2000, then I only do the sales amount multiplied by 100. And this is else. Else, I'll multiply by 90. It's just a sample. So you can see the way on how you read it. It's just maybe me, right? I got used to looking at the DAX construct. Some of you who are totally new, okay, you wouldn't make out what is this. How come multiple line, Mona? I thought Excel formula all one long line. Now, actually, in DAX, it's always recommended for you to format it nicely. You can write it all in one long line until you drop out from your monitor, so no problem. All fall to the floor. It's okay. But who in the world will want to read that? I'm not so sure about you guys. I am very opinionated here. It's my self-opinion. If I get my hands on maybe, let's say, an Excel file where I click one cell and the formula goes all the way until the end, I've got to scroll right and right. I will curse first before I read. Who in the world write like this? At least you block it like this, it's easier to read. You write everything and bait into one long line, it's so difficult to read. Probably because I'm technical. I'm a developer by nature, so I read code, right, in multiple blocks, multiple blocking. All right, so this is just a taste of that. Now I'm going to show you a demo after this, no worries, right? So next one, like I say, what you need to understand, this will be the last slide, I promise, if I were to start boring you guys. It's the most important differentiation between what are measures and calculated columns. This would be the most asked question every time I conduct my DAX training, even during my normal Power BI training. I would get people asking me this. They know how to calculate, you know. I was surprised also, how come these people who are already experienced in DAX, right, they're still torn between, hey, when do I create measure? Hey, and when do I create columns? So I have sort of like, you know, summarize it a bit. Use a column when you need to slice or you want to use it to filter on a value. You produce a column. Most importantly, you must understand what is the differentiation traits, the characteristic of a column compared to a measure. A column is really like a table column, you know. When you add a new column, right, the column really appear right on the far right hand side at the end of the table. blank first. They are waiting for you to enter the formula in the address bar, in the formula bar, sorry. Okay, in the formula bar. Once you finish entering the formula, provided the formula is valid lah. If the formula is correct, the result will be populated across the number of rows that you have in the column. I told you earlier, if you got 1 million rows, right? The column will have 1 million values lah. Every row got one value on. So you can see the formula that you have written into the calculated column, right, is to produce multiple values. Right? Now, measures on the other hand, right, the measure is to produce a singleton value. When you write and create a formula for a measure, the formula you write, you must ensure that it produces one singleton value. It's not going to actually iterate through or loop through every single row. Okay? Wait, hang on. There is actually, wait, sorry, I just saw one question just now. From Alex, can you explain more about complex aggregations in using measure? Okay, now you are going very, very far away. Okay, now complex aggregation, I think this is actually something that is newly introduced. There is something called aggregations in Power BI, all right, if you're doing Power BI, okay? This is Microsoft's way of simplifying, and it's like trying to spoon feed you with a machine learning way of analyzing and scanning all your data and to try to calculate, pre-compile, pre-calculate all summations, all aggregation for you. Now, the complex aggregation that you're talking about, okay, I believe is a feature, right, that is used to boost the performance of calculation. All right. But you know what? In a DAX course, I don't talk aggregations there. I want you guys to learn how to write. Okay. So like I say, if you talk about measures, right, people will be now feeling as in, okay, because I've been toiling my bones, I've been shedding a lot of blood and tears just to struggle writing the DAX. So now finally, thank God, I am down on my knees now that Microsoft gave us these aggregations without having me to write all these things anymore. But like I said, I am from old school. Whatever given to me automatic, I appreciate with only 50%. I thankful half, because I'm not so sure what are they doing in the background. Right? I am a machine learning trainer as well. I train machine learning. I train data science. As much as I believe in all these things, okay, I am still believing only half, because I'm still a human. I still believe that human needs to come into the picture and to verify and to validate your own data. As much as machine learning, AI comes into the picture, still, I do not want that Terminator scene to come in, what Skynet taking over the human beings and all that. No, I'm not that. So you can, of course, reap the benefits, okay, and the so-called convenience, right? The features that Microsoft given to us in a form of enabling aggregations. It's a very cool feature, yes. Just turn it on, all right, and aggregations will do the calculations in the back. But let me tell you, the reason why you want to create measures on your own, because that's what you want to project. That's what you want to calculate, and you want to use that on your report, okay? You can, of course, leverage on those aggregations, but not every time the machine will know what you want to calculate. All right, I will give you a very simple example. The reason why we write DAX, okay, is to be able to answer questions that nobody else can see directly from the data. I give a very simple example. Think carefully, okay, listen carefully. If you have a customers table, right, and then you got a sales table and a product table. Obviously, a customer buy what product lah, right? So you know customers table store customer data. Right, the name lah, the address lah. Maybe you included a lot of marketing survey kind of result, even including like what is his yearly income lah, whether he's married or not, his gender, what is his, how many children does he own at home, you know, something like that, how many cars he own, all these kind of information. On the other hand, your products table are those information of your products, the products that you're selling, organized into categories and all that. Okay. Now, through the sales table, you know, that's a transaction table. Directly in the sales, usually we calculate what? The sales amount lah, the tax lah, the profit lah, whatever. Those are the calculation. But you know what? You cannot expect aggregation, right, to be automatically calculated to answer a question as in, I want to find out how many of my customers never buy toys for their kids? Do you think the aggregation can answer you this? No. Right? Because these are just too deep. The machine would not understand whether, hey, suddenly the fella want to know how many of my customers actually ever buy toys for my kids. How do you answer this question? You will definitely need to write a measure, a formula that checks the relationship because of the customer related to the sales table and then the products there, right? Your product or category, ma. Let's say your product, you got different types of category. You got cameras and camcorder lah. You got home appliance. You got games and toys. So you got a big bunch of products under games and toys. So looking at your customer relationship with the sales table, from the sales table, you pick out any customers, right, who never bought toys. And some more, right, okay, must make sure the customer must have kids at home. He don't buy toys for himself. So then when you find out the result, you will feel, oh, the kids must be very poor, very pitiful. The parents never buy toys. Because you got a customers table with a column number of children at home. You need to filter the customers, right, whereby they got children greater than 0. Customers got children equal to 0, don't bother. I want to find out customers with who has children greater than 0 first. That bunch of filtered customers, right? Then I do a relationship again according to the sales with the products they bought. How many of them bought the category ID number 8, let's say, which is games and toys? You see that? So these are things that you have to write. And you cannot expect, okay, all angles of aggregation to be generated, right? So maybe, like I say, in a couple of years down the road, probably, right, when the AI comes to the picture, you train up the machine learning model, you can get that. Okay, so that should be how my point of view about the difference of aggregations, complex aggregations. Microsoft promised that, okay, that you need to enable this. Even here, I put it, use a measure when you need more complex aggregation. All right. The complex aggregation we're talking about is the way that you filter here, filter there, you slice here and slice there, then you go and summarize it. When you're going to calculate percentages, ratios, you use measures here. The columns are only when you need to calculate row by row basis. Every row you produce a value, and the value later on, next step, you use it in your measure. All right, and please take note, measures compared to calculated columns, right? One will use more space. One will increase the file size, the other one won't. Calculated columns, because they were pre-calculated, the values are stored in the table, they will consume more space, more memory. Measures consume CPU more, not memory. Columns consume more memory. Take note of that. These are the simple things, okay? But you see, in a real training, I will go deep dive and I will even, break down unscrew the nuts and the bolts, okay, just to show you, okay, why. What is the insight? I'll discuss more about performance and efficiency and stuff like that. This is only a 2-hour webinar. I got no time to lose. Okay. So now that's the only thing that I want to talk about right now. So the first thing I want to talk about, right, is the table functions. Simplest one, because I picked out a couple of things, okay, just to demonstrate table functions, and I talk about evaluation context as well as a little bit of time intelligence there. So I want to show you my first Power BI file here. Okay, I've prepared this. Hang on, I'm just launching my Power BI right now. Okay. I think it started. Okay, there you go. All right. So hang on. There you go. So I think you guys can see the screen here. All right. Okay, so now what I want to show you, let me just show you the model that I have here. I always go directly to the model view, just at least you guys can have a look at it. So it's a very simple model here, okay? It's a snowflake schema. Some of you guys who are from IT background, you should know, okay, with data warehousing, you know this is a snowflake schema. Sales table is here. As you can see, the store table, I've got the date table also going on here, right? Maybe I put it at the bottom lah, okay? And then I've got the customer table, all directly, see one to many, all directly related to here, okay? Now, remember, I am talking very, very fast here because I assume that the attendees, you guys join here knowing very well about data modeling already. Okay, so one-to-many, they're all related here, and the product table has got separate tables of subcategory and category, which is a snowflake. All right, just related like that. Simple. Okay, now what I intend to do here, right, okay, is to produce analysis of the discounts. I want to produce a report. Okay, let me just go to report view. I've got nothing here yet, right? And let me show you the data. I've got a lot of data here. My customer table, as you can see there, I've got all this yearly income, total children. You see, I use always the same type of data model. This one comes, if I'm not mistaken, from AdventureWorks, the very popular Microsoft using this the sample database, right? So I've got 18,869 customers here, 18869, right? And in my sales table, I've got this is store. I've got 306 stores worldwide. And of course, my sales table, if you look at this here, I've got a little bit over 100,000 rows. I've got 100,231 records in my sales table. You can see all my columns are hidden, right? Those of you with experience in Power BI, you can see very well here that the table sales jump directly at the top. Look at the icon. The icon is an overlapped calculator. That means all my columns are hidden because I intend to put in measure only. Now, inside this table, when I expand, I've got already 1 and 2 measures. I've got a total sales. I've got the number of sales. If I click on total sales, right, look at that. This one I've already provided here. You guys know that you can increase the font size and all that, okay, by holding to control key and wheel up and down, right? Usually for I thank Microsoft, okay, for doing this, especially when I'm doing training. If the font is this small, only N-man can see, no one else can see. So usually I hold on to control key, my cursor point to the formula bar, I wheel up, and this is the largest I can go, right? So just that, all right? So I think this should be nice. Okay, now from here, you can see I'm using SumX, SumX, the sales table, I sum the whole sales table by multiplying quantity with the net price first. Simple. You see, the reason why I don't use sum, how come I cannot use sum? Because first of all, you can see here that my column, right, I don't have anything. I've got unit price, I've got a unit discount, and then I've got unit cost. I've got the net price. I'll take net price lah. Of course, net price is net ma. But I don't have sales value. You know that the sales value needs to take the quantity, how much or how many items that the customer buy or bought here. You multiply with the net price, then you get a sales amount. Okay. Instead of putting it as a column, I immediately create this as a measure. I totally use SumX because the sum function cannot do this thing. All right. Now let me just cut it off, and I'm going to show you. If I type sum, can you see the parameter? It says what? Column name, Let me zoom a bit. That means the sum requires only one single column. If I were to type that Q, sales quantity, then multiply, and then what? U or N for net price, net. You see? I always tell this to my attendees. As you type okay, you expect the IntelliSense to show. I type net, where got nothing? It's not suggesting anything. If you type something and they do not suggest you something, don't proceed. Don't waste your finger energy in typing. Because it's not suggesting something means something wrong. Something wrong with what? With you or what? Of course with you lah. You are not typing correctly because what? You see, you're not conforming to the parameter. The parameter says, I expect only one single column. You are doing mathematics in there. Cannot lah, right? So that's why Microsoft came out with SumX. SumX, the parameter is expecting different things. Now they expect two parameters, two arguments here. First one, you tell me what table you want to sum. Okay, it's sales law. Okay, you name the table first. What table you want to sum? I sum the whole sales table. That's what I want to do. Okay, so put the table name, comma. Now they can accept expression. Expression means the mathematics. One multiply lah, divide lah, whatever. Not just single column. You look at the tool tip, the tip that they provide you, very important, right? So now, of course, I can put Q, sales quantity, multiply by NET. See, they come out, see? And press enter, that's it. No need to fully type. Why waste your finger energy, right? Then close. I don't close also, never mind. They will auto close for me. Press enter. They auto close. Look at that. Toing. Auto close. All right. So that's the reason why I need to literally say, please sum up the entire sales table for me. But before you sum, you take this expression. That's what I want to sum. The result of this, only then you sum it. That is how you interpret this formula. Okay. And then I also have num of sales. The num of sales is using count rows. Excel don't have this. Excel, you count lah, count A lah, D count lah. You know, you've got what else? Count all. The all is with the asterisk, right? Now you got count rows because Excel does not treat the sheet, right, okay, as a row, because they're not a table, they're just a range of cells. So here, because you're dealing with a table, they do have a row counting function, which is count rows. I pass it like this as sales. The whole table I want to count. You know what? They will return this result there at the bottom. 100,231. Look at that. That's the result of count rows. They will do a count rows. And you know what? They also give you distinct count. They do have distinct count. Let me erase this just for the sake. D-I-S-T. There. Distinct count. Distinct count is to count the number of unique values. Even if you do a distinct count on a column, the column is duplicated. Every duplicated value, they only count once. Right? If they're duplicated 10 times, right, they only count once. If they're duplicated 20, 30, 100 times, they don't care. They only return once. This is a very powerful function. You don't have that in Excel. All right. So, but here, of course, we are doing account rows. Now, what I'm trying to do here, right? Count the sales. All right. I want to produce a simple a table. Let me just go over to my report here, right? I just want to create a table. Let me just create a table here. Make it a bit larger here, right? I want to now, okay, I've got the date table here. I will drag and drop, okay, the calendar year column. All right, I begin with the calendar year column like this. All right, let me just increase the font size lah. This one is again for N-man only. Hang on, 14. Not enough 16 lah. Okay lah. Good. So I've got 7 years worth of dates here. If you were to look at the calendar year, CY, calendar year, from 2005 until 2011. But do I really have all the data that meets the 7 years? Does it mean that 7 years also I got full sales data? Don't know. Why not we find out? So now with the calendar year column confirm a date, after that I go to sales table. Because got the relationship all built already, I want to show now the total sales. When I drag and drop it, ooh, there you go. My grand total sales is a little bit north of almost 30.6 mil lah. $30,591,343.98. Broken down into only 3 years. Now I found out already. My sales table only got 3 years worth of sales data, 2007 until 2009. Right? And after that, I also have a measure called num of sales. I also put it in here. So there, can you see the total? 100,231. That's a total number of rows, but broken down into 3 years because they were sliced further in 3 years. I've got this number. And num of sales here, okay, they are also shown in decimal. Don't want. I don't feel that this is nice for decimal. So num of sales, I go and change it here, format it to whole number. And with 1,000 separator will do. Got 1,000 separator. So I go back to the report. Okay, this will do it. Now, once I've got this, what I want to do now, okay, is how do I calculate the number of discounted sales? What do you mean by what? Okay, see here, you know I did a count rows. I counted the rows, okay, of the entire sales table. So that's everything. So you see, 100,231 broken down by the 3 years. Well, that's a figure lah. Now, what about number of discounted sales? Sales which has a discount, applied with a discount. So this is where, right, okay, you need to understand what do you mean by count rows with the discount. Very simple. Let me go back to my sales table again. You see my sales table. There is a column called unit discount, right? even though it's hidden, but I can leverage on that. I can use that, right, okay, to indicate that any unit discount greater than 0 means they were discounted lah, correct or not? Those unit discount is 0 means no discount given. So they are non-discounted. Now I want to find out how many number of rows, number of sales which were discounted. How do you do that? Instead of doing this, just count rows sales, the whole table. Obviously, I will create a new measure. Yep. Click new measure again as you go. New measure, not column, measure, because I want to do a summary. It's a summarized column, all right? Not column, sorry, it's a summarized value. All right, so now I'm going to do this. Count rows. Sorry, where's my new measure? There you go. The new measure here. Man, my measure, once I switch over, it's gone already. Wait, hang on. I go over. How come my measure is? Let me just delete from the model first, and I'm going to create a new one. Just to show you again, Okay, so new measure. Let's say I call it num of discounted sales lah. All right. So you know that I need to count rows. Yeah, I'm going to count because it's number, how many number of sales, right? So num of discounted sales. Now, can I put sales again? Now, you know I can't do this because I already got that. This is to count the whole sales table. So you know I need to pass in a filter. Look at that. Count rows, I filter. Before I count rows, I do an inner one, okay? I filter. Now, see, when you put a filter function, okay, let me increase this. They expect a table, name, and a filter expression. So which table are you filtering? Of course, I'm filtering the current sales table. All right? And what is the expression you want to filter? Obviously, I'm looking at the unit discount column must be greater than 0. Close it. And that's it. Close one more. This is literally, right, I filter first. The result of whatever I filter based on this expression, right, must be greater than 0 lah. The number of rows returning from this filter, I count it after this. That's what I want. Okay, simple as that. Enter. And you know what? Once I got this, I return to this here, and let me try to use it. Where is it there? Number of discounted sales. And there you go. That's the number, right? And no 1000 separator. Okay lah. I go back to my num of discounted sales here. In my measure tools, whole number, yep, I put a comma there. 1000 separator. Good. That's the answer. Right? Okay, is it possible to show CY 2005 until 2006 as 0? All right, that was a very good question. You see, because of the relationship, they are showing all these only whatever that's matching. If you want, you can show as blank. Like for example, calendar year, you know calendar year has been filtered. You click the drop down here, right? You also can see show items with no data. 2005, 2006, and then 2010 and 2011, no data, right? I show items, no data. Toing, then come out. So at least they're still blank here. They will show blank, right? They will show blank. But you have to use a calculation, okay, to come up with if it's blank, then you replace with the 0. Else, okay, across the table visual. This is a visual thing. The visual will show blank only. But you're still able to show the figure out. All right? There are times when you want to also show the members, right, of the year, that even though it's blank, but still show, right? I feel you, right? So that's how you can do it, right? You don't need to do a calculation or whatever. It's just a feature of the visual here, right? So it's just drop down here, just say show items with no data. It's here, okay? All right, but of course I'm not going to show it. I hide it, and that's what the figure I have here, okay? Now next one. The same pattern here. See, I've got total sales because total number of sales, right? Now I've got number of discounted sales. These are all the totals. See, for year 2007, total sales happened was 31,682 deals, right? 31,000 plus sales. Out of these 31,000 plus, 22,000 of them were given discount. I don't care how much lah, they were given discount greater than 0. Similarly, year 2008, right? 28,000 plus. The sales dropped slightly a bit, but the discounted given also were 20,000. This one, 39,000 increased by a jumping or whopping plus. So here I've got 20,000, so 27,000 plus. This is number of sales, no? So but what about the value? It's just like this, total number of sales I have here, right? These are the value, a calculated value. So how do you get this value also? So the answer will also be the same, all right? Because you will need to now create a new measure. I will do the same measure. It's just like I got total, I got number of sales, I count rows the whole table, right? Total sales, I use sum X, the whole table also, sum the whole table, but I calculated like this. Got it? So what I'm going to do here, right, is equivalent. I will create a new measure. Remember, guys, I'm showing you very primitive way, okay, whereby I am creating. How come I always click new measure? They go bring me here new measure and they still show me this. What? Something is wrong with this. You see? Oh man, I need to take the focus off from the formula bar first before I click the new measure. Okay, new measure. All right. Now I got a blank one. Okay. So I'm going to call it, let's say, value of discounted sales, something like that. Okay. So I'm going to show a primitive way. Now, those of you who are already exposed to DAX, I know there are some of you guys who came here to attend this webinar equipped with some level of DAX already. Some of you guys in your head already thinking, why write like that? Just calculate lah. I'm sure, right? Calculate is the mother of all functions. I always say this in my Power BI class, even in my DAX. No need DAX. When I train normal Power BI, right? I will always say calculate is the mother of all functions. You guys Google up, okay, do research for your DAX. You try to say, how do I do this, right? You get answers. Everybody will demonstrate calculate, calculate, calculate. In fact, calculate, like I say, it's the most powerful, it's the most flexible function out of everything. You can rewrite all this with calculate, definitely. Okay, but I'm showing you from the raw level, table level function. Okay, so I'm going to do just to map, because you saw some X, I will show you some X lah, some X. So just now I sum X, I put in sales, cannot lah, because this one sum X sales means I sum the whole table. But now you know I need to filter first, just like how you filter to get any discounted sales. How many number of discounted sales? So now I want to know the value. I will filter again. Same thing. I put in filter the sales table, and it's actually looking at the unit discount column greater than 0 lah. This is the filter expression. So whatever rows satisfying this condition, they return already, comma, the final expression to calculate still the same. Quantity, multiply, net price, and close one more time. That's it. Slightly longer, no problem. You want to put it in the next line, also can. Shift. The answer is shift enter. You see, shift enter, shift enter, shift enter. And that's how you get multiple lines. These are the line numbering. That's why, you see. So I can put that, put it into second line, make it a bit more handsome. You see, I always have to press tab key like this. Easier to read, can fit one screen, right? No problem. But just now, if it's able to display in the same line, then okay lah. I can still put it like this. Just nice, fit, okay? Now when I press enter, all right, so I've got a new measure, value of discounted sales. And again, going back to my measure tools here, I will just make sure that I see its currency, and I make it as US dollar lah, to make it 2 decimal places. Then when I go back to here, I will show value of discounted sales. That's the value. There you go. Okay. So this is how you get, okay, table functions. Usually table functions, right? The topic of table functions always talk about filtration. Because a function that happened on a table, people will only look at filtering. Because you do not just want to say everything calculation. So I calculate everything lah. I return everything. Since when you want to return everything? Because most of the time in real world, people want to filter. I want to only return whereby the color of the product is blue. The sales of blue products, the sales of products who fall into the category of digital gadgets, something like that. So you need to do filtering, right? And of course, that should be it. And one more thing. Now, I want to now look at even harder now. Slightly harder, slightly lah. Okay. What I want to do now, right, is since you know how to calculate number of sales here and then the value, then the number of discounted sales as well as the value discounted. So total, right, okay, just talk about the grand total. Grand total of over 3 years, we did $30.6 million sales. And there were 100,000 over sales figure, right? Sales deals lah. Total up is 30.6 mil. Discounted ones from the 100,000, okay, is 69,000. Almost 70,000 sales were discounted. And the value was 20.1 mil out of 30.6 mil. That's understandable, right? Now, the question right now is, okay, I want to count the number of products. Okay, I want to count. Let's say now I involve product already, no? It's not just within the sales table. I want to jump ship over to the product table. I want to find out which, okay, products. I calculate number of products where the number of discounted sales, the sales of those products is greater than the sales which was not given discount. You understand me now? Okay, so this is one table. Wait, hang on, don't worry. I will just put this a bit over here. I want to create another table. Maybe I just do a copy lah. Easy, copy and paste here. So duplicate the table. This one I will throw away everything. I want to start a new table. This one by adding in, let's say, the product table. I want to focus on the product table. Where's my product table? In my product table, maybe I want to go over to the category first. I display category easier lah. Beginning with the category. You see, I've got all these categories. See, games and toys are there. Audio, cameras, camcorders, whatever. These are category level. I want to calculate, all right, the number of products. First of all, I need to understand, okay, how do I calculate number of products? The number of products. Do we have a number of products in the product table? I've got, no, I don't think so. They've given us a number of products here. Okay, so how do we calculate the number of products? First of all, okay, the number of products is calculated by looking at the product. Now, the number of products is nothing, you know. Can you go over to the table, product table? How many products do we have all in total? 2,517 products. Okay, do you think that you're going to jump to this products table, right, and count the total number of products? 2,517. Do you think that would be the answer? Of course, that will be the answer. Okay, just count. Okay, the total number of products do we have here? Okay, so that is where. Can I do it also in the product table? Yes. We will go into the product table. I create the measure here. I will create new measure in the product table. I call this num of products. Let's find out how many number of products do we have here. Of course, you know already it's 2,517. So we're going to do what? Account rows, just like the sales and the whole product table. There you go. All right, count rows product. Now, do you know why the table name got a single quote? Now, you will see table name when you put it into your DAX formula with a single quote, because that the name of the table coincided with the name of a function. There is a function name called product, you know, the product function. So that's why when you name your object, your table, right, which is the same name as a function name or something else, a reserved keyword, you will need a single quote, right? But anyway, I'm going to press enter here, count rows. So again, this measure tools, I'm going to put it with a 1,000 separator. Okay, now let me come to here and use the num of products. There you go. So look at the grand total, 2,517, confirm lah, right? So you can see every category, I've got 8 categories here, 8 categories, each category, how many number of products coming from the category. Easy, simple job. Okay, very easy. Now, like I said, let me remind you again, okay? What are we looking for? I want to come up with a new calculation. Out of every category, let's say audio lah. The category of audio, I've got 115 products coming from the audio category. How many of these products are out of 115, right? How many of them have been participated in the sales where the discounted ones are greater than no discount ones? You know, sales of the same product, sometimes given discount, sometimes not given discount. But I want, right, okay, the number of products from here where their sales, which was given discount, is higher than the sales that was not given discount. How do I do that? All right. Now, this can be a slightly long one. all right? Again, we are using iterators. This is how I start, okay, the engine, usually in my training. This training, okay, in my training, this is module number 2. This is chapter 2. We start with, well, chapter 1 is intro lah. That's why we don't calculate the intro. But intro, from the intro, right, table function is always how we start. So here, I'll create a new measure in the sales table. This measure, I'm going to call it, right, again, I'm going to call it num. That means I need to do count rows because I'm counting how many number. Num of discounted products lah. I do not want to give a very long name, but please take note, okay, that what I'm trying to calculate here is the products whereby their discounted sales are greater than the non-discounted ones. This can be a bit awful, right? So you can work it out in your head and you try to think, how am I going to do this, right? But like I say, I'm going to start from the next line. Shift Enter, go to the next line. I'm going to start with count rows. You know the ultimate is to count rows. But what am I trying to count here? You need to ask yourself, what are you trying to count? You're not counting the whole table, right? Obviously, you're going to filter. Yes. Count rows, filter first. What are we filtering? Now, because sales table has a relationship with the product table, because of the relationship and they're connected, you don't need to worry about the filtration. You only need to worry how you write the filter function only. The filter expression must always navigate between the sales table to the product and vice versa. The product, one product, many sales. It's a one-to-many relationship. So I filter the product table. I'm filtering the product because I need to find out, okay, the product. Now, the filter expression, I can guarantee you is going to be crazy. Why? Think carefully. I'm trying to find out, right, the number of products whereby their discounted sales is greater than the non-discounted sales. So which means I filter the product, the expression must count first also again. Because I need to compare, remember, no, I need to compare, right, the number greater than the non-discounted. Discounted number greater than the non-discounted number. So I count rows again. Okay, you know what? I'm going to type this in a second line. Again, indented it easier for you to read, like this. So the filter expression for this, when I filter the product, right, the expression to filter is I want to check again. I don't count the rows and whereby I filter, see, a count rows filter with a count rows filter. This is crazy. Because why? I want to establish a filter to another table. Which table? The sales. I want to jump ship over to the sales table. Count rows filter sales table. Because why? The unit discount is in the sales table. So I have to filter the sales table whereby the unit discount is greater than 0. This means discounted sales. I want to count how many. Okay, and this one must be greater than, again, I don't want to type lah, copy and paste here. This one terbalik, equal to 0. Correct or not? This one I filter. How many of them the sales unit discount equal to 0 means no discount given lah. But how many number of sales here, right, is non-discounted? This one number of sales which are discounted. Discounted, the result here discounted greater than the number which is non-discounted. You can see this is a whopping type of thing. So when I press Shift Enter, I close here. Toing, toing. Okay, close. Can you imagine I write everything into one long line? You'll be cursing me because you doesn't know how to read this. Like this, at least I can try to, you know, use finger, point here, point there, and work it out in your head. You understand me? All right. So this is how it goes. Now, I don't know. Let me press Enter first. Is it going to give me error? All right. So let me just go over here and let me try to use it. Oh yeah, before that, number, measure tools here. I also want to give it a 1000 separator. And probably no need, because it's hundreds only. I don't need 1000 separator. So I'm going to use the num of discounted products. This one. Can you see this? Something wrong. You see, I produce something wrong for you. This is how I conduct my training also. Sometimes, okay, I will show you, okay, as if I write the correct one, but actually I'm pulling your leg. I purposely write something, right, so that you learn from there. Something is wrong. What is wrong? Let me show you. What do you think is wrong? First of all, my focus, my scope, I'm going into the context already. I'm talking about evaluation context already. The context, when you write function, when you write formula in DAX, I will make this sound very complex already, It's not as easy as Excel, because Excel, you don't talk context like that. Even though there is context in Excel, but it is not as vast and not as complicated as DAX. You see, when you begin your formula, right, you want to filter product, correct? But then when you want to specify the condition of filtering, right, you also want to filter. That means that you are switching. You got context transition. We want to change and switch the context to a different table. You need to understand, your context started in product. How can you simply jump to sales just like that? You need to understand in DAX, right? Even though knowing that the product table is related to the sales table, because you see, you know the word related to the sales table. There's a road, there's a line. You see, there's a line leading product one to many. You see, using the product key, they join. This road leading from the product table to the sales table, but this road here, product table, is not owned by the father of product, This road is just to tell the product is related to sales. Sales is related to product. Good. Understanding this, right? You have a context transition whereby when you are from the one side of the table, you want to say, I want to jump ship over to the sales table. I need to have related, okay, not related table, related function. I need to use related function. There are two. I need to mention, okay, that this is related. Hang on, I think something is wrong here. I think related table, correct. Because product is one to many is related table. Because there are two. They already given us related table. You see, it's very, very smart. They know that your original context is from the one side. You jump over to sales. Sales is many. One jump to many. Use the function is related table. If here is many, you want to jump to the one, then it's called related. So I'm missing related table. So this is how you give instruction to DAX engine, You say, hey, follow the relationship line, please, go over to the sales table, help me retrieve that. So I need to use a proper related table function like this. Wrap the sales around with related table. You cannot simply just type sales because you're switching the context. Originally, you start from product. You jump over to many. So with this now, when I press enter, you can see answer is, ta-da, it's working. That's the answer, right? So this is how my style of training, right? Because I will always show people's mistake. Because I'll put myself into the shoes of the normal user. I write like this. I thought that is how I write. That is a common mistake that people left out. They overlook somewhere. They overlook one function. And then I'll show you. You see, the answer like this, right? Now, this is supposed to be the answer. You put in this function. You missed out this function, right? Because people will appreciate this way rather than I show you an answer immediately. You won't learn. Because if I keep on showing answer and answer, okay, you are like, hey, this is like playing back a recording for me. I might as well read the recording, right? But I want to show you the steps that usually people take when they embark on the journey of writing the DAX. But what they found is that, hey, how come the result like that? You see, simply because I missed out the related table, right? And now I put in the related table. You see, it's a big difference. Without the related table function, they produce the same thing. That means the filter function has got no effect. They are returning the whole table, the whole sales, right? That's the implication here. So this is what I want to talk about in terms of context. Remember, there are three types of context in DAX. Evaluation context. Number two, that's number one, evaluation context. Number two, filter context. And lastly, number three, row context. Let me tell you this, evaluation context is not really a context Because evaluation context, right, is how DAX evaluate your formula. That is the context they establish, right, in waiting for your formula to complete first. When your entire formula is complete, when you press the enter key, right, they will evaluate. So if I were to use back my formula to show you, see, this whole thing is the evaluation context, because this is what DAX engine will evaluate for you. But what makes up an evaluation context? It's the filter and the row context. It's just not point number 2, point number 3 that makes up the point number 1. The eval context is a wrapper. It's a container that is waiting for a combination of either the row context or the filter context. So filter context means that here you got one filter context, this is another filter context, and another filter context. So filter context means, right, as long as you use a filter function, you are establishing a new filter context. So DAX will prepare a new session, right, to evaluate what are you trying to filter? What will be the result? How many rows returned? Okay. Then here also establish a filter context. So how many rows returned? So every filter context, right, will have, okay, a certain number of rows returned. This number of rows, okay, will be then counted. You see, they count rows, ma. So there will be a figure lah. This also same thing. They filter already. How many rows? They count rows. The number counted here must be greater than the number counted here. And this will satisfy the outer filter. Pass over to the product. You see, that's why I say context transition. You are switching context to another context. You understand this? All right. So that is why ultimately the final one is you count. This is a very exhaustive formula, I can tell you. The word exhaustive, you can see, you can feel me also, right? It is exhaustive means that it's very tiring, very tired one. Okay, means that it use a lot of memory already, use a lot of CPU. There are many ways of rewriting this, definitely. Okay, we got no time to actually go into this, right? But like I say, some of you guys who have exposure to DAX, yes, the calculate will be the answer. Using calculate can find that, right? But let me jump over to yet another demo here, right? This technique to check is considered exhaustive. Why? Because can you see? This is something that I always tell my participants, you know. Why do I count rows here, finally I count rows again? What? You don't trust each other one? This fella inside counted already? Yeah, because of comparison lah. After counted already, right, they return to the filter, outer filter. You count again for what? It's like you got a lot of money, you get your treasurer or whoever, hey, please count for me this money. The fella count, one day, one night. After that, tell you the figure, never mind, I count myself. Do you know how the fella will feel? What, you don't trust me? You ask me to count one day, one night, you waste my time. The fellow will be pissed off, right? So this is what the engine will be feeling. I exhaustively counted. I pass to you. You don't trust me. You count again. You see, that's the way I make my DAX, right? That's why I love DAX, because I looked at it, right? I tell stories, you know, behind the DAX. I feel that the fellow is very, very pissed off already. Because I can tell stories from here, the way on how the CPU is trying to count so many times just to return one same figure. Now, even though I got no time to actually show you the vastness of calculate. But calculate does everything in a batch. They are not doing iterative process. They don't exhaustively go and iterate every row. They do batch and they do what we call set-based logic. They calculate, right, in a set. All right, so that is why there are many ways of rewriting that. And usually if you Google up also, if you were to research on your own, you will find that they will always suggest that the best way to write this is to use calculate. That's the most efficient. But there are not always be that case. Sometimes before the calculate can function, can happen, right, you need to use an iterator. You need to use a sum x all these count rows just to find the intricate details before passing the value to the outer calculate. That means maybe inside the calculate, you need to do this exhaustive iteration before you can calculate vastly. All right. So that's actually how it goes. Now, next one. Okay. You see, it's seriously 2 hours. My God, not enough time. You see, I talk also wasted a lot of time already. Last one here. Since you know how to calculate the discount greater than non-discounted ones, okay? How many discounted ones are non-discounted ones? Now, I want to talk about, what about any number of products that was never sold? Hey, we got 2,517 products. You can guarantee all 2,517 products, every product was sold on all the 3 years of sales. You sure or not? Of course, I'm not sure. I want to find out number of products with no sales at all for the 3 years. You see, this is also one very good answer, okay, that would be needed in real world also. You are selling many products. You're from FMCG lah, you're from whatever, I don't know, all right? But you want to find out how many of my products was never sold for the entire sales deal. My sales table got how many years? 3 years. Okay, fine, 3 years. Which product was never touched? I need to tembak my marketing people already. I need to fire them. Fire means verbally fire lah, not really go and chop them off. Because I need to find out what happened, you know, why these products are not. So I want to find out the number of, in this case, I want to show number only. So I'm going to go into new measure. How do I do that? Again, using your knowledge about the count rows. I want to do a num of products with no sales. Wow, very long. Okay. Shift enter. I always write in the next line. Count rows lah, you know that already. Count rows, filter lah, you know that already. Whatever you want to count must be filtered first. Filter first, then count. So you filter what? You filter product again lah, definitely. You filter the product. So you filter the product. Now I'm going to show you another one. You know that the filtering expression. What is the expression? The condition. You want to filter the product. You are going to count rows again. Okay, what are you trying to count? Because you know which product was never sold, you must jump into the sales table to find out. So you know already to jump over to the sales table, you need related table. Cannot simply type sales. Don't forget the related table. Jump over to the sales table. All right. Count rows by jumping over sales table equal to, I have to close the whole count rows. The count I counted first are equal to 0. When I count, nothing come back, 0. That is what I want to filter the product. Filtering the product where in the related sales table, I counted the rows from the sales of this product equal to 0. See? Another classic example of this fella will be very pissed off. I am so tiring. I jump over to the sales table. I cross ocean, cross mountain, jump to the sales table. I count, okay? Oh yeah, this one 0, finally. I pass over to you, right? You still have to count to me how many products. You understand me or not? So in this case, okay, I will press enter right now. And let's see whether this works or not. Num of products with no sales. There you go. Oh yeah, it's correct. Okay, it's correct. These are the number of products. See, from the audio, right? These are products with discounted sales higher than non-discounted. But 22 products out of this category was never sold. If you have another table with the list of all the product names, you select here, you select this value right here, they will filter to you the name of the products, which of these 22. They will show you because it's cross-filter, right? So if you have another table, so but the thing is that, okay, it seems to be very fast to produce this result here. But is it efficient? This way, what count rows here, count rows, how many times you want to count? You see, that's the whole idea here, right? So in this case, right, okay, how many times that the DAX, right, engine needs to calculate in order for this to happen? I will show you a much more efficient way. You see, in my training, I don't just show you the answer because there can be many ways of writing. I will show at least one more alternative solution, always, everyone, okay? And sometimes if I can find 2 alternatives, I will show you. Which one is more efficient? That's the whole idea here. There must be a way to efficiently write this. Now, let me show you. Instead of count again inside to find out, you utilize a better function, which is empty. You jump over to the table, right, which is related table, sales, right? You know related table sales, okay? You cannot avoid one because you have to use related table to jump over to sales. That's it. Close here, close one more, close one. Wow, that's it. That's it. No need to count rows equal to 0. Count rows equal to 0. There's a much better looking, more handsome function. It's empty. Is empty doesn't mean totally empty. Yeah lah, empty ma. You are trying to find out which product when you jump over to the sales cannot find at all. It's called is empty. All right. And is empty is equivalent to, there are some languages like if you're familiar with SQL, SQL call it is exist or if exist. Whether it exists or not, but in DAX we don't call it exist, we call it is empty. There are two, a lot of people will kind of like confuse. There's an is empty, there is blank. This doesn't use blank. Is blank is to look into a column, whether the column value is null. That is called blank. It's not the whole row doesn't exist. The whole row doesn't exist is empty. Is empty. Is empty means the row is not present at all. Not there. I press enter. See, shorter, concise, easier to read. When I go back here, answer the same. See? Answer is the same, more efficient. I cannot really prove to you that it's more efficient, but if I have millions and millions of rows, when I do this way, the answer will be appearing a bit more dynamic, much better, right? Much faster. Always when you do calculation, it's all about performance as well. Don't write the way that I can get the result, then okay lah. You can write 2-3 pages long formula, yet still can get the result. If I can write only 1 page, which one is much better? Which is more efficient? You see? So that's always the case. Because when you have got one person reading the report, you are safe. If this report is shared out to a number of people, every one of these people, they hit on your report, they render the report, there you go. You will face people complaining, how come this report renders so slow? At least this figure, they're still turning for how many seconds before they show. That's the implication of measure. One very bad, I would say, it's a disadvantage of a measure compared to a column is the measure, no calculation is done before. They are only calculated dynamically when you use the measure in your visual, then only they display. You see? So when they display, that is why they do live calculation. Right? They have to live calculate it. All right. So, like I said, this is more efficient, this way of writing. Okay. And all right. So I think that's good enough so far. Right? Showing you that. Now I have got another file. I just want to show you with some time. I still got some time left, definitely. Maybe I want to jump over to one calculate let me show you just throw in something extra I keep on mentioning about calculate, but I never show you this. Let me close this file, and I'm opening up a new one. Don't mind the whale at the background. All right, so I just want to show something about this calculate here, all right. Let me see whether I can demonstrate this. Now, again, if you look at it, okay, I've got this particular file here, all right. This particular matrix. It's a matrix, all right. Let me just try to see whether I already started. This is how I started with this matrix. Let me see whether I can work it out here. All right, now let me see. Increasing the font size a bit lah. I'll go to the grid here and. Where's the thing? No. I think it must be in the general. Text size is 16. Okay, good. So you know that I've got many product categories, then drill down to subcategories. That's it. And then the total sales broken down by category and subcategory. So you can see the subtotal, all that here. All right. This is done based on my table. It's the same table, yeah. It's always the same table here, right? Where in my sales table, I still have the same total sales measure. The same total sales multiplied by net price one, you see? It's what you have seen, no difference, all right? Now, I want to now do something. I want to show you, right, okay, some calculate here. If I want to find out, for example, here I got breakdowns, right? I want to just purposely, I know I don't need to do this. Actually, there are times, remember guys, DAX is not everything. It's good that you learn DAX. I always tell my participants in Power BI, you have to know DAX. Once you know DAX, right, okay, then you realize that not everything need to calculate. You see, it's like that. It's like once you learn Kung Fu, right, or Karate or whatever, once you go up to the highest, then only you realize the best is not to fight. You see, that's the ultimate thing. Because you know everything, then only you realize that, yeah, it's not to fight. Same thing. Now you learn how to calculate everything. Finally, you realize, yeah, actually, the best thing is no need to calculate one. There are things that can be used because you understand, all right? You know it deep down, right? I always crack this kind of a concept, right? So here, I want you to know. I'm going to calculate purposely something that I actually don't need to calculate, but to prove to you the usage of something here, right? Let's say I want to calculate the total sales of audio only. How do you write that? Only audio. The sales of audio category products. So what you can see here, in my sales table, I already got total sales. All right? I already have total sales here, right? So a lot of people think that, okay, let me show you. I create a new measure. Let's say, quickly do a create measure. I will call it sum of sales. Maybe I just, not sum of sales, sales of audio. Only for audio, only audio, yeah? So what I'm going to do, right, okay, is that you will do this. You sum X, right? Sum X. Sum X of sales? Yes? No? Maybe? Yep. I'm going to sum X. Filter first. Because I'm not summing the whole sales, I'm going to filter. What table are you filtering? I'm going to filter the product table, all right? The product table, and the expression is to look at the product category column. You see, I've got a product category column here, must be equal to audio, like this. After filter, right, then only I will say quantity. Where's my quantity? Ooh, look at that. Can you see? Again, I'm trying to show you something that you don't realize here. When I say sum X, I filter the product. Because I jump into product already. Now I want to calculate quantity lah, net price lah. All these are from a sales table. How? You see, can you see that I told you the context is out of scope. Even I type the word net. You see, it's not there. Quantity, not there. It doesn't come out. Because your context is already focused on product. This way is gone case. Cannot. There are sometimes, right, you want to avoid using calculate, cannot avoid. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you calculate. Calculate. Can you see calculate? One thing wonderful about it is that calculate can calculate any expression. That's why sometimes when I talk about calculate, people start asking me. They interrupt me and say, "Hey, calculate function. Calculate what? Seriously, I'm laughing to myself, but that was the question that I was usually thrown with. When you say calculate function, it's so ambiguous. Calculate means calculate what? Calculate. It can calculate anything, right? Calculate what? Okay, like I said, the expression. What is the expression I want to calculate? I want to calculate what? The sales sum X. You can put sum X, see? Sales, the whole sales table, quantity, multiplied by net price. You see here. This is what I want to calculate. But you know what? This whole thing, right? Why you want to put it when you already got a measure called total sales, right? The total sales is a measure that is depicting this whole thing. So come on lah. Open a square bracket. I use the total sales. Done. That's what I want to calculate. I want to calculate again the total sales. I want to return the sales. I want to calculate total sales, but comma, filter. Immediately the second argument by the calculate, right, can allow me to specify filter. And you know what I filter? Directly. You see, I type product. I can jump ship to product anytime, anywhere without having to worry about related function lah, related table lah. Calculate is so powerful and flexible. They don't care whether you have to know, okay, I'm in the one side of a table, I context transition, jump over to the many, I have to use this function. Oh, whether I'm in the many, I jump to the one, what function I want to use. They don't care. They don't bother. They allow you to establish a new filter expression here. Directly, say product category column equals to audio and That's it. See? It's so easy to interpret in English some more. I want to calculate the total sales provided that product category is audio. See? From left to right, I can talk. Direct interpretation. Calculate for me the total sales, please, but provided product category equals audio. As simple as that. You want to insert please also can. So now, with this figure, currency, okay lah, put it US dollar lah. Then I move over here. Let me show you the impact. Seriously. Why am I telling you that I purposely create this measure? Just to show you calculate lah. Yeah, fine. But actually, behind the scene, I want to show you more. So what? I created a measure. Can you see that the measure seriously takes this filter? What I want to tell you, right, that calculate is so powerful, right? Because the argument here can accept any filter expression and override any filtering from elsewhere. Whether you got a visual filter lah, you got any other slicer you put on your Power BI, you use one or many slicer lah, they don't care. The moment you create a measure using calculate function, the calculate function, when you establish this, they override everything. Now, you know what? Since they override already, you saw that the answer is given. But because the problem is I put this measure into this matrix. Look at the matrix here. Only audio they show lah. This is not audio. Nothing lah, blank lah. This is not audio. See? The rest are not audio, right? They try to also show. So that's why they try to feed it into the matrix axis. So ultimately speaking, right, there's nothing, it's blank. But the problem is the subtotal is still showing the same thing again and again and again until grand total still show again and again. It doesn't make sense, okay, that the sales of audio, right, depicted in the matrix, right, yes, it's 384,000 bucks here. And then the subtotal of the camcorder doesn't really qualify. They are blank. But it doesn't make sense that the subtotal is 384,000, okay, for blank sales. And it goes the same. And then grand total is $384,000 as well. So that's why sometimes when you do calculation using measure, you have to also, please, think carefully. You use this measure on what visual? And make sure when you create a measure, right, you have got filtering in there. You know already that the filter will override every filter. But because you forcibly, you force this guy and stuff him into a matrix, the matrix are drilled down like this. How can you suppress the subtotal? All right, so because the angle, the axis, right, is actually giving you in such a notion, okay, that you've got no choice but to do that. You're forcibly doing that. Okay, so this is whereby what you are looking at, right, okay, it's a vast, I would say, how do I put it? It is something like you are messing with it. You're forcing it, okay, to fit into the description. Okay, so now this is where to create a new formula, okay, of how to suppress your main mission is just yeah, I want to show. I still, let's say you are very, very stubborn. I still want to show the measure of sales only for audio, but I want to suppress all that. How should I do it? Of course, the formula must be rewritten lah. The formula is great, but you know what? The first place I want to filter is actually really I want audio sales only. But you know what? One more powerful thing about calculate function is I put a comma. Can you see this? When I put a comma here, right, I got filter 2. Can you see the dot, dot, dot here? That means they can also be equipped with so many filters that you can never finish filtering. Let me simulate this by putting another comma. Look at that. See? Comma. Sorry. Comma. 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 Can you see filter 10, filter 11, filter 12, ooh, filter. Oh, you know what? I have tried lah. Like there was once which I think I was very free lah. I keep on pressing comma, comma, comma. I see how far I can get. I get until filter number 64. It still can continue. I gave up already. You guys can try. The filtering is vast. It's crazy. You can combine many filters. So let me cut to the chase lah. I don't want to do all this crazy thing. I got no time to do crazy thing for now, right? I put a comma to specify a second filter. The second filter is I want to say values. I want to focus, okay, that my filter, right, also say I only put in the values based on matching my product category column. That's it. That's it. Let me put it into the second row, second line, so you can see better. I calculate total sales. Definitely first filter is I want it to be only for audio. But at the same time, right, I want to make sure that the values of my product category column is matching. If it doesn't match, right, okay, it would not show, okay, any figures. You see, when I add the values is to focus the value, available values coming from the product category. So when I do this, right, I add a second filter, right, look at my result right now. See, clean, very clean. Grand total, definitely okay. Grand total is okay. What I want to suppress was just now, I told you, okay, all these subtotal for what you display. So at least now clean. Cool. That is how I suppress it, all right? Just by adding a values in there, okay? So this is something that I want to ensure, okay, that the vastness of calculate, you can keep on adding on stuff in there, okay, just to produce, okay, some form of way that you can, okay, that you can calculate. You can add on filters. The good thing about the filter, right, is that you don't even need to use the filter function. Just put in the expression only, you know. You realize that here, just only the expression, you see? Expression. I don't even need to begin with the filter, open bracket, what table filter, then comma, no need. Because why? This is the parameter that was made a part of the calculate function. It's a part of the calculate. So that is why it's there, okay? So that's the way to be, okay? Now, still got time? Still got time, I guess. So what I want to also look at right now, let me see what else I have in my agenda right now. Let's see. Okay. I tell you what, with the calculate that you see here, right, this doesn't make sense, I told you, right? Why? What for? I come up with a measure, right, that calculates the audio when my total sales like this. You see, based on the way how I slice, I broken down by the category, I already got the same figure. What for? You see, this figure is the same. So what for you want this? No need lah. For what? I already got it here, man. This one, correct or not? It's the same thing. That's why let me show you using calculate, right, for something more useful. Let's say I want to show, okay, let me throw away this one first. Go back to here, this sales of audio, no need lah. In fact, I want to show you how can I calculate the percentage of sales from the grand total. I want to show the value of sales as a percentage of the grand total. For example, this audio category, the category level is this one, 384,000. How much is this figure? What is the percent from the grand total? And then some more in the subcategory, this figure, right, from not the subtotal, this figure is how many percent from the grand total? Again, always divide by the grand total. You know, we calculate percentage is a division. You divide, right? So I want to show how much for each of the sales over the grand total. This is a bit more realistic. I'm going to create a measure right now. Okay, let me just show you again. New measure. Where's my new measure? Table tools here. New measure, and I'm going to call it, let's say, sales PCT lah. Sales PCT. Sales percentage. I just call it this way. Okay, and percent is divide. You know that. Okay. Now, let me also introduce you to divide function. A lot of people thought that divide not use slash, man. You divide something with slash lah, right? But of course in DAX we got divide also. You know what's the difference with the divide function? I know quite a lot of people don't really see this, right? Hang on, before I continue, I got some questions here. Can some X use more than one filter? Some X, yep, of course you can use more than one filter, but the filter must be passed within the filter. Because inside some X, right? Can you recall what is the parameter in the sum X? Table name, comma, expression. The expression is a calculate expression, not filter expression, you know. So if you want to filter, right, you've got to put sum X. Let me use Notepad to type it out. Sorry, because answering your question I will try to do it this way. Hang on. Just put it out here. So you're going to put some X, all right? And then you know that you got to do a filter here, right? So whatever filter here, then maybe inside the filter, comma, whatever, okay, you maybe you want to embed again another filter. I always type filter with a fillet. Not fillet, filter. So filter within a filter, filter within a filter. You are embedding filtering. This is what makes it really tough. You know what? Because some X is iterative. They are iterating row by row. So if you filtered one subset, calculate the row, okay? You qualify the row with the condition. The row will be subjected to another filter. Again, they're going to qualify. They're going to evaluate again. One evaluation pass over to another filter, they evaluate. Another filter, they evaluate. So that is the implication, because some X is a function that use iterators. They use row by row, like a record pointer. They keep on iterate row by row. That is the costly one, costly type of calculation. Okay, so that's why some X can use more filters, but like I say, some X you have to use filter function, many filter function embedded. All right. Next one, how come the total of other product categories still showing some number over there? What do you mean by showing some number? You are talking about this one. Hang on. Let me throw away this one first. Delete the sales PCT. Let me just delete it first. Okay. So you're talking about how come if I were to use back this one, some figures over here. Yeah, because this figure is for total sales, This is the, this is a different measure. This is one measure, all right? This one is, let me use a different color. This is another measure. Separate measure, Look at that. It's here, right? I use both the measure, I put it into a matrix, so that is what it's meant to be, definitely. That is why it's confusing. You see, when I use this way, it's confusing, right? The way and how I want to show, people don't do it this way, like I say, right? Because I put it here, right? And side by side with this, and then you are confused as in, why do I need to do this, right? When this total sales already know how to slice it over and filter, right? So that's why these figures are still there because of total sales. This one are all blank because this measure only look for audio and the rest are all blank, okay? The next question, possible end product of Excel pivot table is creating dashboard in DAX. Ooh, you are asking a question that is dashboard in DAX. You're talking about dashboards in Excel. I know there is a way to create a dashboard in Excel, but pardon me, I am a full Power BI trainer. Okay, I used to train Excel way back in 1990s. I started training. I trained Excel. Then slowly I go into Power Pivot, Power Query, all that before Power BI. Yeah, so I actually advanced from there. I know when we are not given a choice, right? That's the only choice we have. Excel, I try to assemble charts, whatever, try to make it look like a dashboard. But let me ask you a thing. When you come up with a Power BI, a real dashboard, can you compare it with Excel? I can tell you, right, okay, you are trying your best. You are simulating a dashboard. Excel, right, okay, they don't give you a real dashboard. It's not a dashboard. You make it to believe it's a dashboard. You try to assemble it as a dashboard. All right. So the way I put it, right, is maybe Power View. All right. If you are still hard-headed, stubborn, you still want to stick into Excel, fine. Power View. Power View is actually the reporting element of that, right? So you try to assemble those interactive charts or whatsoever. You can use a card there to display, So try to, construct a layout like a dashboard because it's interactive. If you ask me the normal pivot charts, whatever charts, the natural conventional charts in Excel, they're non-interactive. You throw in a slicer, then you slice, then the chart will move. Other than that, you click, also nothing you won't move it, right? Maybe you want to throw in some macro programming. Why you do so much things just to get a dashboard when Power BI can, do everything, right? So the DAX calculation is just to produce the figure, all right? But dashboards are an assembly. You select this chart A, chart B, chart F, chart G, and then you put it, and then you arrange it nicely, organize it. That's a dashboard, right? So you don't necessarily want to maybe you are interested in Excel's or spark lines lah, data bars lah, KPI lah. Come on lah, these are all things in Power BI, equivalently or maybe even simpler to do, right? So you don't use the DAX to create dashboards. DAX is just only for calculation. Once you got a figure, then only next step, how you present this figure and put it into a dashboard. DAX is not to create a dashboard. Dashboard is using mouse click on, no need to calculate on, okay? Right, so if you still want the end product of Excel pivot table in Create Dashboard, yeah, you can, because you have a way to install a Power BI add-in into your Excel. Whatever Excel things already in there, right, you can dump it, upload into Power BI. If that is also another angle of what you're asking. I'm trying to think of the question that you are asking here. Every angle, right? Because from the way I read, possible end product of Excel pivot table means the result of a pivot table, you want to put it onto Power BI dashboard. Then you pin, no? All right, let me try to demonstrate, see whether I can. I got Excel here. I've installed my Power BI add-in when I remember, right? Let's see, blank book. Let's see whether I got this or not. Where is it? Yeah, I got no data here. I can't really display because I'm supposed to have a Power BI thing here. Let me go to data. I think it's here. In my data here, I've got data model. I've got, no, hang on. In my file, I go to options. I will go to my add-ins. I want to show one add-in here. Let's see in the add-ins. Maybe com add-ins. I click go and see. Let me zoom in here. I've got there, this one. Yes lah. Power BI publisher for Excel. If that is what you are asking, the person who's anonymous here, all right? Possible end product of Excel pivot table. This is the only way to do it. You need to download and install this Power BI publisher for Excel. You can get this download from your own Power BI website. You log into a Power BI app.powerbi.com, right? There's a download button there at the top to download Power BI desktop lah, data gateway lah. There is one thing called Power BI publisher for Excel. See, when I enable this here, when I click OK, and kaching, where is it? Where's my kaching? There. A new ribbon, Power BI. There you go. So I can see that pin. So if let's say, can you imagine I got this chart here? I just select the chart, whatever, I click pin. See, and of course you must go profile, you must sign in first. Then they will, when you click pin, they ask you which dashboard you want to pin. So that Excel part, the pivot table or the chart can directly pin it onto your Power BI dashboard. No problem at all, if that is what you're asking. Okay. All right, so that's called Power BI Publisher for Excel. But that has nothing to do with DAX, okay? Right. Okay, so yeah, what am I trying to do? I talk about the divide, right? Let me do the final calculation here first, okay, which is the divide. I will talk about the divide as in, why did I have a divide function rather than using the slash, right? Let me introduce you. Let me create the new measure here again. I call it sales PCT. Sales PCT. I'm running out of time here, no worries. I use divide. Why? You see the divide function, right? They are looking for numerator and denominator. And you know what? If you divide something, of course you need numerator and then the denominator. But if the denominator is 0, you get a divide by 0 problem, error, correct? So the reason why Microsoft came up with the divide function, can you see the description now? It's a safe divide function, very safe one. Able to handle divide by 0. So if a denominator is 0, you can alternately put in a result here, what you want to display. So it's not like divide by 0, they throw you error. Sometimes we get really, really pissed off, really fed up with errors, little bit error. So divide function was crafted specially, right, to handle this kind of situation. If you have a denominator that is 0, report 0 lah. Why give me error? Numerator 0, right? I can treat it like the numerator is, the denominator 0, right? I can treat it like the 0 is the numerator, because numerator is 0, I get the answer 0. So if the denominator is 0, right, at least show me 0 also lah. No worries one, right? So that's why I use divide. So what am I trying to divide? If we talk about our current situation, if you are trying to divide here, I want to divide. Look at this first. I'm trying to divide. They got to give me error again. Hang on. These figures, sorry, let me throw away this sales of audio again. Let's talk about this one. every figure here divide against the grand total, am I right? And that will give me the percentage. So that is going to be crazy. You know why? You are like dividing what? Total sales, right? Denominator what? Hey, the grand total is also total sales. What is this? You get 100%. Correct or not? So total sales divided by total sales, you are like 1 divided by 1 is 1 lah. So that is why you got to really understand. The total sales you use here is giving you all this breakdown because they look at the axis. If you got product category, they will know how to get the filtered one. If it's subcategory, then filtered one. Category is this one, right? This is the category. This one, blue color one, this one, all the subcategory, right? So they were there because the axis, you put it into the matrix, it slice them lah. But all this whole thing, the entire T lah, I use orange color here. The entire T is total sales. It's coming from the same measure. How can you take the same measure with divided by same measure? Cannot, right? This is where I show you the answer behind this, right? Is to take total sales. You divide, yes, but the denominator must be fixed at the grand total. That is why you have to use calculate. The denominator use calculate. Calculate is so powerful, you can calculate anything. I want to calculate the total sales again, yeah? But the filter here, right? What am I trying to filter here? What am I trying to filter? I will filter for all product. See, like this. One more. You see, calculate total sales, right? But the filter is I want all the product. Because all product sales again is the grand total lah. I just put that all. The answer is actually all, right? I'm sorry. So now with this, I want to go to the measure tools here and I want to depict this as percentage. Percent. And you know what? Let me see whether it works or not. Sales PCT. All right. Yeah. Is it correct? So here, right, it's at 0.41, blah, 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 all that. Yeah, I believe this is actually correct, lah, right? Because I can seriously take one figure here, divide by the 30.6 million like this, okay? I can see that is there, right? So you can see that, yeah, it is. Because you see, you take the total sales, every breakdown, okay? The most important thing is you form your, how you shape your denominator. Your denominator, you must calculate again the same total sales, right? But the scope of filter is, I want to set the scope to all the product. All. All is the thing. Is the answer here. Okay? So you can see that, one more thing, I want to show something here. When you say all product, it looks very nice. Can. Yeah. I can tell you, guys, answer is correct. One last thing before I finish. What if I add in a slicer? Then you will see problem already. I tambah lah. I add in one slicer. I want to slice by the color of the product, let's say. You were in for a surprise, guys. I got color here. These are all my color of the product. Let me increase this font. Okay, good. Now watch this, guys. I want to slice, let's say, brown color. Okay. Look at that. What does it mean? I slice brown color. There are 3 categories with all these subcategories. The products there can fulfill brown color. Always look at all this percentage. How come grand total is 3.337? Or maybe I put on hold on to control key. I select 2 more. I slice brown and gold together. What does it mean by totaling up all these things that is 4.55%? That is the problem with all product. When you put in all product, right, you are having the scope of all the product that was going to be accepting whatever you slice. So just now I didn't put slicer, of course, good lah. I never put in slicer, it's good. But the moment I put in a slicer, right, it tells a whole different story already. I put in a slicer, I allow my user to slice by brown line and gold together, right? Now, what is left are only this product. You say, in your denominator, you say all product word. So all the product, I calculated 4.55%. So 4.55%. So there is actually much better. What if regardless of what I slice, I want the grand total to be forever total up to 100%. You understand me or not? This is what people wanted because it will produce an ambiguity. People will get confused. I put in a slicer, you show me 4.55%. Where is the 100? No matter what I slice is 100. I don't slice also 100. You get what I mean or not? So this is where you don't use all product. You use all selected. That's the answer. The answer is just a meager function called all selected. Open close bracket inside no need parameter. See, it's an empty function. All selected. All selected means whatever you select, I will try to divide by that. You see? So that is why whatever you selected, the denominator will be divided by that. That is why they're always attributed to 100%. So when I press enter here, watch this. I go down to here. Now 100%. See? The figure also changed already. So because, right, whatever the sales percentage that you're depicting here, right, is actually the denominator is only the products of brown and gold. All right. Now, if I were to slice pink alone, again, always 100%. But if I don't slice, it's everybody still the same. Still give you 100%. Still back to the old figure. All right. Okay. Some questions here. What would be the recommended laptop spec some more? Or brand for someone who has to handle 100K transaction per month, 2 data drawn from MySQL server. Okay, you are asking question about the hardware specs and all those things. Now, I don't want to talk brand, right? I just talk a bit about slightly on the technicalities, right? Now, if you are dealing with handling of rows, which is just hundreds of thousands and all that, I can tell you, just put it 8 gigabytes of RAM will do. But that also depends. If you are heavily doing Power BI alone, without a lot of things running in the background, do you have a lot of jobs running in the background? You are actively running jobs, pulling things, emailing, like emails, okay, arriving like I don't know, like flies flying into your window or whatever, I don't know, right? So maybe 8 gig RAM also is just nice, but don't go for 4 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, 4 gig RAMs are now used by students. So we are working already. So 8 gig RAM, I can tell you not enough, I would say. For optimum level, you see, I've been using a 16 gig RAM since 2 years ago. Okay, I'm using a gaming rig. The only thing that can satisfy me is a gaming rig. So 16 gig RAM, I would say that would suffice because of the amount of RAM. And please never use your i5. I've tried many times. Intel i5, right? You do Power BI, okay? You will not high five, you know. You will drop dead. Right, you need a very good processor, at least i7. You need the latest, if you can get your hands on latest gen i7. I know i7 price and i5 price is really a big deal, great difference, but no choice. You do a lot of number crunching calculation, they use a lot of CPU. Your i7s are going to do great. Okay, next question regarding the all select. Wait, hang on. What if you want to calculate the percentage of sales at subtotal of the product category? Now that one is a different scope. Okay, you need to actually add in the values. Okay, there is actually another topic, okay, which I did not put it into here. You have to put in the values also. For example, you know that the values of the individual. What you're talking about is you want here 100%, here 100%, everybody 100%, right? So if this is the case, okay, you have to manipulate, okay, not the all selected here. After all selected, you also need to put in another comma here, okay, and put in the values of the subtotal, maybe values. I'm not so sure whether this works or not. Maybe the other way around. The product. Let's see whether product category actually. Maybe product category. Okay, let's see whether this works or not. Sometimes, yep. Is this what you want? See, every category is 100% of its own. So Pauline, I think you're the one who, yeah, you do display your name, Pauline. Is this what you want? Every subcategory, every category itself is 100%. Right? Okay, so that's the one. You just need to add. Remember, I told you that you need to add just one more filtering here. But you know, every subcategory total up to the category, so your values must be category, not subcategory. The parent level, the parent give you 100%. Your individual subcategory is just the total, right? So next one, Janice, regarding the all selected, what if I want to get all the data and ignoring what the user select? You want to get all the data and ignoring, then you don't need the all selected. Remember, like I said, right? It's all. It's just all only, right? all selected is based on whatever the user selected. Either you manipulate in such a way that you've got a slicer, or you throw away the slicer, right? Because when you put in a slicer onto your report, right, you are expecting people to slice. You're gonna expect people to slice, all right? That's the reason why I put a slicer. Else, you don't put in a slicer, so your matrix forever will show all, right? And then here, you just change your all selected to all. Then in the bracket here, right, the product table, all the product is for every one of the product that is displayed there. So you anchor it there, okay? So that's the way to be. So, but this will, like I say, cause the problem of, like I say, if you have a slicer, people slice different colors, right? The finished grand total is not 100, you know. They will forever be only a couple of meager percentage. You want to forcibly get 100%, okay? You're gonna do a different thing. You got to do a different calculation, right? If the data set that I use is always changing, this is a very big question. I'm not so sure. Changing as in what? Structurally, data always change. You know, data changes is, I expected that already. Right? The data always changing. It's normal. As long as the data changes, you refresh already, right? They will auto calculate. Right? The measure is dynamically calculated as per the data changes. If your data set, you refresh it, maybe schedularly refresh it. If it changes, it's okay. But if you are talking about structurally, it changes. Sometimes I add a new column. The back-end source, sometimes people drop the column, they delete the column, they rename a column. That one is nothing to do with DAX already. That one, the problem is going back to data modeling. Your data modeling cannot be like that, right? So we do not want abrupt changes like this, okay? Not always U-turn. So don't. It's not the case, because when you have a solid data model, right, no U-turn one, and no W-turn. So it's not like, oh, today I like it, I name it like this. Tomorrow I don't like it, I name a different thing. You are disrupting your data model, right? But if you say your data set is always changing, that is good, because your data keep on coming in by the day, new transactions and all that. So you have a scheduler refresh. As your data refresh, your report, okay, will be dynamically calculated based on the measure. All right, the measures will be updated. No worries on that. That's the default behavior for Power BI, right? Okay, so I guess I would like to really talk more here, you know, because you see, I cannot pull handbrakes one. Usually I'm a trainer, I teach without handbrakes. My handbrakes are all gone one. Okay, but because it's a live event, so my producers are cutting me already. Okay, so typically, guys, I really do hope, okay, that at least I have given you something lah, right? Some of you guys who are a bit more advanced maybe say, this webinar not giving me anything because he's not talking more advanced ones. So like I said, it's just a sneak peek, right? But like I said, I really do hope, okay, that you guys will be able to attend the training. Now, speaking of the training, now we do have a public class coming up next, but it's only in August. Okay, so the date is August 23rd to 27th, right? That's the nearest Conquering DAX class. August 23rd to 27th. So it's enough time for you guys to prepare as well. You guys can definitely approach, right, Trainocate, or even my company, German Consulting. We are partners. Okay, so it doesn't matter. You go Trainocate, you go whatever. It's the same deal. It's the same thing, same content. All right. So I would like to thank my producers as well. Thank you very much. They are all in the background supporting me. I can still take in some questions if you guys are gonna have some further questions. All right, so please do hook up with the respective sales. I think is my producer Patrick still around? Patrick, would you like to address the crowd? Anything about on Trainocate side?
Yeah, sure. So thank you guys for attending this event. I hope you get piece of information or something that will meet up to your expectation, right? Piece of information that can make you feel more confident, or you have extra tips and tricks on handling the Power BI, right? Thanks, Jerry, also for your time for conducting these seminars.
No problem. It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So let's say you guys, if you have any further question, do feel free to reach out to us. Yeah, and also you feel like this is something that will be useful for your further journey in terms of Power BI, using Power BI, do reach out to us for the actual course. Will be a 5 days courses, and then that's where Jared will torture you some more with the full 5 days.
Oh yes, the torture will come in later. Okay,
Right.
thank you, Patrick. Okay, thank you, people from Trainocate. Okay, it's a pleasure, okay, doing a partnership with you guys. So,
Yep.
yeah, sure. Because each and every of our respective salespeople will be contacting you guys soon, and the course evaluation will be distributed to you guys through email. Yeah, right. So thank you very much, guys, for attending. So 2 hours is very short, I know that. Okay, but hope to see you guys in the public class. Okay, in August. Right. So thanks again. Once again, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Trainocate.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
guys. See you. Bye bye.